Pardon me, everybody, but I have to settle a score with the pathetic belching radio hack over at Pubic Reality Radio, Ed Brayton. You see, my friends, what Mr. Brayton has done is he has written 2 blogs on his sorry excuse for a blog site, Dispatches from the Culture Wars. And the problem with these 2 blogs in particular, along with all the rest of the blogs he has ever written, is that what he writes is, at best, subjective and misleading. Like the one that he wrote that is titled, Public Reality Radio Gets a Stalker, or something like that. Writing material in the blog that is both subjective and misleading, okay? Trust me, folks. Read it yourselves. Because the only people dumb enough to read his crap and find it believable are the people on the left wing that are as dumb and gullible as he is. The other blog that he writes, which is titled, Aw, Chris Staub Doesn't Like Me, is also subjective and misleading at best. First, just let me say that this particular blog is a great example of how he reacts to having his big fat feelings hurt because someone had the nerve to call him out on his BS. Alright? And I will give you an example of how misleading he can be, and I'll take an example right out of this blog that I'm talking about here. In part of the blog, he writes about him going to a bunch of right-wing websites and complaining about all of the bigotry. You see, Ed the belching hack Brayton implies that there are multiple occurrences of bigoted writing, but he only cites one example, which includes the racist comments about President Obama and his wife, which are, of course, appalling. But in both the blog itself as well as in the episode of his show in which he mentioned it, it was his authoritative example that he used. And while the racist comments made towards President Obama and his wife are obviously awful, it doesn't really go along with Ed's arguments justifying his claims that right-wing websites are bigoted, as he tried to imply. And the reason it doesn't go along is because all he has is limited examples, like 1 or maybe 2 at best up his sleeve. He also knows damn well that he connected this issue to the same-sex marriage issue, which is shameless because people don't get to choose their skin color, okay? But people can stop being homos or queers if they try hard enough instead of sitting around and feeling sorry for themselves. So in conclusion, Ed, the gullible moron Brayton, has convinced himself that it's okay to broad brush one entire ideology based on the actions of one or even a few. Now let's listen to this burping liar and trying to act smart and credible when we all know that he's no such thing.
Nothing. But he interviewed a couple of people who were members of the church, and they're fine with it. You know, they were supporting him. They said, "Hey, he's just preaching the word of God." You know. And
what denomination is this again?
Baptist. Both
Baptist.
of these were Baptist. Okay. And, you know, the thing is, I hate that excuse. I hate that, well, look, we're just preaching the word of God. Violence in the name of God is still violence. Bigotry in the name of God is still bigotry. Stop using your imaginary friend as an excuse for your own problems.
Oh, whatever. You see what I mean? I mean, besides the fact that he still hasn't ditched the cheerleading sissy in the background, you know, he has that cheerleading sissy in the background to make himself feel better, you know, to make himself feel somewhat superior to anybody. But, I mean, can you believe the nerve of this talking blimp? He has the nerve to call people who believe in God bigots because they disapprove of immoral behavior, like eating other people's food, Ed. I mean, just listen to this idiot. Calling God imaginary and implying that religious people, Christians in particular, are somehow foolish to believe in God? It's a very bigoted thing to say. Making fun of people because they have a moral compass, unlike Ed, okay? Making fun of them like that, it's not cool, Ed, okay? Don't be a bigot, Ed, because it's bad enough already that you're fat.